Hi guys, this is gsmknown.com and I'm here with the ASUS ZenFone Max in the ZC550KL version. It's a battery phone. It's a phablet that stands out to its 5000 mAh battery that's below the hood. Last year we tested a bunch of ZenFones, the ZenFone 2, ZenFone Laser and ZenFone Selfie, and now it's the turn of the ASUS ZenFone Max, just launched, and as far as I know, its price tag is $147, at least on the Indian market, which is very affordable. Okay, so let's get to the design first. So we're dealing here with quite a behemoth, a model that measures 10.55 millimeters in thickness and weighs 202 grams. It comes in black or white, and in spite of those measurements, it's actually lighter than the Johnny Marathon M5, another battery phone. Well, that one weighs 212 grams, this one 202 grams. Of course, that model is thinner at 8.5 millimeters. Other than that, it's a sturdy and massive device, but it doesn't feel very heavy in the user's hand. It's well balanced, the weight. We got a leather imitation texture at the back side. Of course, it's a plastic material, not leather. We got good grip, and of course it's a phablet and it's big, so one-hand usage is pretty much out of the question because you cannot reach all the areas of the screen with one single hand. Other than that, the front side design is typical for a ZenFone handset, and this time we have a plastic frame right here that's still pretty solid. So let's analyze all sides of the handset. Up front we got earpiece, front camera, there's the notification light right here, of course sensors, 3 capacitive buttons, and a screen with I would say big bezels, but frankly speaking, for this price tag I would call them mid-level. At the back, main camera with a microphone above it, the dual LED flash here, and the laser autofocus mechanism right next to it. Here you can find the speaker, and you can also remove this back cover. As usual for a ZenFone, not very easy to do, easier said than done. Okay, here we go. The thing about the ZenFones is that if you do this a couple of times, eventually it gets looser and it's easier to remove. So below the hood you can see that the speaker is actually much smaller than its special cutouts. We have here the 2 SIM slots and the micro SD card slot right here. Let's put this back with its leather imitation and proceed with the analysis of the sides. So at the top we got the audio jack, while at the bottom we find the microphone and the micro USB port. On the left side, absolutely nothing, and one thing you probably noticed is the lack of volume buttons here. Usually ZenFones came with back volume buttons. This one has the volume buttons here and also the power button here instead of at the top. So with the buttons here, I have to say that they're pretty good when it comes to feedback. They respond well to my presses, they're easy to find by placing your finger here, so no problems whatsoever. Overall, a pretty well balanced handset, although very massive and relying on plastic very much, but still it remains sturdy. Now on the hardware side of things, we're being treated to a 5.5-inch IPS screen with a 720p resolution, and inside the phone you'll be able to find a quad-core Snapdragon 410 processor clocked at 1.2 GHz. We also get 2 GB of LPDDR3 RAM and the Adreno 306 GPU plus 16 GB of storage and a microSD card slot that supports up to 64 GB extra storage. Of course, there's also storage in the cloud via ASUS Web Storage, 5 GB worth of it. We continue the specs list with a 13 megapixel back camera, 5 megapixel front shooter, and when it comes to connectivity, well, we're getting Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, there's micro USB, Bluetooth 4.0, dual micro SIM card slots, 4G LTE category 4, which means 150 Mbps download speed, and then we have Wi-Fi Direct, GPS and GLONASS. There are also sensors here, obviously. We got accelerometer, e-compass, proximity sensor, ambient light sensor and Hall sensor. So overall the hardware is pretty good for a handset priced below 150 bucks. The key, of course, is the battery. It's a lithium polymer 5000 mAh unit. On paper should provide us with 914 hours of standby or 37.63 hours of talk time, but let's see how it fared in our tests. So as usual, our test involves a loop of a video file, an HD video file looped in playback with Wi-Fi on and brightness at 200 lux units, and in this method we managed to achieve 19 hours and 35 minutes with this handset. So 19 hours and 35 minutes, which is simply huge. Still, it's below the Jony Marathon M5 that scores 22 hours and 24 minutes, but not by very much. It's still excellent, 19 hours and 35 minutes. It beats a ton of phones. It beats the Nokia Lumia 1520 with its 17 hours, the iPhone 6s Plus with its 15 hours and 8 minutes, the AllView P6 Energy with its 12 hours and 9 minutes. Other than that, we also did a PC Mark test, also for the sake of battery testing, and this is also very impressive. 16 hours and 24 minutes. It simulates continuous usage, and this is a fantastic result because it beats every other phone we ever tested. It beats the Jony Marathon M5 with its 16 hours and 20 minutes, the AllView P6 Energy with its 11 hours and 24 minutes, and even the ASUS ZenFone 2 Laser with its 8 hours and 16 minutes. Of course, some sacrifices had to be made, so the charging is kind of long, 4 hours and 40 minutes. It's probably one of the longest charges any smartphone we tested ever had, but it's well worth it. It's still below the Philips Xenium i908 that charged in 4 hours and 35 minutes, so faster than this one. Of course, other phones with big batteries that charge faster are the AllView P6 Energy, charges in 4 hours, and the Lumia 640 XL LT, 4 hours as well. As if the battery wasn't enough, there are also special power saving settings. Here's the battery area, and here's the power management area. Okay, so we entered power saver and we got the following modes. There's performance with the highest CPU performance and high brightness, normal with adjustments made to the CPU performance and brightness, power saving that disables the networks when the device is asleep, super saving that keeps the phone, SMS and alarm awake, disables the networks, and customized, speaks for itself. It lets you tweak the experience, choose between high performance or smart CPU, choose between high or smart brightness, turn on or off the network, and extend standby to save battery life, affecting the notifications of the apps. I would prefer normal for now. Okay, other than that, we have smart switch that allows you to switch to a certain power saving mode at a certain percentage, or schedule that switch. And that's pretty much it. Those are the settings that can trigger power saving. Then there's the auto start manager that allows you to choose which apps are permitted to start or not automatically and extend battery life. Overall, the conclusion regarding the battery is that it's groundbreaking, it's excellent, and aside from the long charge, it's basically perfect. Now we move over to the acoustics with no headphones here because our test unit wasn't bundled with headphones. We have the speaker here. It's much smaller in reality as you saw before. And now let's check out the music app. If you ever seen a ZenFone handset, well, you've seen them all when it comes to the Zen UI interface. This is it, and let's go straight to the settings. We got sleep timer, we got settings here with the option to change the color theme, and an equalizer that lets you fine-tune the audio settings like this. So we got movie, music, gaming and vocal, as well as smart, plus these tweaks. We can tweak the volume, bass and treble, also enhance dialogue, and we can customize 5 frequencies with dedicated sliders. Okay, that's the default equalizer. Audio Wizard can also be set to the Android equalizer, which is the stock one, but I prefer the one that ASUS provides. Okay, now it's time to actually listen to some tunes. Here we go. And now the conclusions. The sound is pretty loud, there is a bit of distortion at the maximum volume, not much bass, the guitar is well heard, and luckily there's no muffling. so you won't lose volume if you place the handset on a flat surface, which is always a good thing. Once again, we didn't get headphones with this test unit, but if we did, we would have shown you the FM radio app, which usually is fine on ASUS devices. Go to the gallery, and I'm going to show you the decibel meter test. As usual, we did that, and we achieved 87 decibels at the back of the phone and 86.6 decibel at the front of the phone. This means we surpassed the LG AKA with its 86.4 decibels, the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 with its 85.6 decibels, and the ASUS ZenFone Selfie with its 85.5 decibels. We scored below the Samsung Galaxy S6 with its 89 decibels, the ASUS ZenFone 2 with its 89.1 decibels, and the OnePlus One with its impressive 90.5 decibels. And if you want to further tweak the experience, we got a dedicated audio wizard app that takes you to movie, music, gaming, vocal, and smart. Let's hear them one by one. So here we go. As you notice, there is a huge decrease in volume once the option is turned off, so overall I have to say I'm reasonably happy with the multimedia aspect of the phone, minus the distortion part. Now it's time to discuss the screen. Well, what we're dealing with here is a 5.5-inch display. It's an IPS LCD with a resolution of 1280 over 720 pixels. It has Gorilla Glass 4 protection, an anti-fingerprint layer, and 178-degree view angles. It also uses full lamination technology, and it relies on a sharp technology panel, plus it offers 267 ppi density. The gallery will be used as the video player here, and this is the standard clip we use. Turn down the volume a bit and enjoy the playback. So a bright screen with a pretty crisp image, vivid colors but no oversaturation, luckily. The contrast was surprisingly good. I actually got to use the handset in sunlight and had no problems, and the view angles were also pretty good. It comes with RGB striped pixels and follows a series of less fortunate ZenFones that let us down in 2015. They had pretty low brightnesses, but not this one. So these are the pixels, RGB stripe under the microscope, and this is the lux meter we used and achieved 304 lux units. I would have to say that this is an okay value, especially compared to the last year model. So we beat the ASUS ZenFone Selfie with its 285 lux, the ASUS ZenFone 2 Laser with its 274 lux, and the LG G Flex 2 Even with its 266 lux. We scored below the ASUS ZenFone 2 with its 323 lux, the Huawei P8 346 lux, and the AllView P8 Energy with 471 lux. Of course, the screen gets its very own settings, found right here. So we got brightness level with automatic included, font style, font size, wallpaper, sleep, LED indicator, daydream, and a screen color mode that includes color temperature, this one here with this slider, balance, these are the modes, blue light filter also with a slider, vivid, and customized with 2 extra sliders for hue and saturation. So overall a good screen, not much to object here. We like the fact that the brightness has improved compared to the other models. We got wide viewing angles, vivid colors as you can see, and now it's time to discuss the cameras. So we have a 13 megapixel shooter at the back, and in case it feels familiar, it's exactly the same shooter from the ASUS ZenFone 2 Laser. It has the laser autofocus mechanism here, the dual LED dual tone flash, and for selfies we have a 5 megapixel shooter up front. Okay, so let's talk about the technology of the cameras. The main shooter here is the 13 megapixel one at the back with Pixel Master technology f2.0 aperture. There's also this laser autofocus mechanism, and basically you get the same sensor on the ZenFone Max as the one from the ASUS ZenFone 2 Laser. It's a Toshiba sensor that offers 0.03 second autofocus, which is impressive, and we got a dual LED real tone flash here. At the front, 5 megapixel selfie shooter with 85-degree front camera wide angle lens, and once again f2.0 aperture. Now let's see just how fast the camera app starts. I would have to say it's a medium startup, although I've seen faster launches when using it for long periods of time. Okay, so now it's time to analyze the user interface. If you saw our reviews of the last year's Zen phones, it's exactly the same UI with a single novelty. This button here, the one marked M, lets you jump straight into manual mode without having to go to all of these modes. So let's take everything one by one. We got the flash options here, front camera shortcut, and a huge amount of settings. White balance, ISO, exposure and optimization with these sub options, saturation, contrast, sharpness, noise reduction, backlight and detail enhancement, or you can choose auto. Resolution is 13 megapixels in 4:3, 10 megapixels in 16:9 or lower values, anti-shake, image quality, fine or standard, timestamp, touch shutter, self-timer, burst, that can be turbo, fast, slow or off, and focus modes, smart autofocus, continuous and infinity, metering mode, center weight or average, touch auto exposure, face detection, and then for video, white balance, exposure and video quality can be Full HD, HD or TV. If you choose video stabilization, you will jump to HD resolution. Then we got video preference, performance or quality, touch auto exposure, and the usual options that all cameras have: smart brightness, guidelines, info, burst review, camera sound, anti-flicker, power saving, and the usage of volume buttons. That's everything there is on the left side of the interface. Now on the right side, gallery shortcut, manual button, shutter button for photos, shutter button for videos, and a huge amount of modes. So we got auto, manual, HDR, and let's see the explanations for all of them. So auto, which pretty much adapts to every situation, manual with a bunch of tweaks, HDR, that's already known from other devices, beautification with facial enhancements, super resolution, which can create 52 megapixel shots by combining for 13 megapixel pictures. And then we got low light that boosts light sensitivity, night with a slower shutter speed, depth of field, which we've seen for a while now from ASUS, effect with various filters, selfie with the main camera, GIF animation, panorama, miniature, making a real size object look like a miniature model, time rewind, smart remove, and that's not even the end, all smiles, slow motion, time lapse, and then again auto. So a lot of modes to play with here. If you choose manual, you'll see a collection of other new options. So we got this histogram here, we got this horizontal line stabilization, so you can fit on a horizontal axis for better balanced shots, and then we have those extra manual tweaks. For white balance, going all the way up to, let's see, 6500 kelvins and all the way down to a pretty cool 2500 kelvins. That's the white balance. Exposure goes up to +2 or down to -2, or you can leave it straight in the middle. Then we got ISO going up to 800, shutter speed oscillating from the 1000th part of a second to half a second, and focus, which goes from macro to infinity. So those are all the options we get to play with here. And in case you want to take some selfies, you can trigger the front camera, and you have a bunch of extra options, like for example you have cheek thinning. Okay, so as I said before, cheek thinning, eyes enhancement, there's also skin softening and blush with or without live effects. And we also have here selfie panorama, auto, night, HDR, low light, GIF and time lapse. Now when it comes to the actual camera experience, I noticed that the focus is very fast. So even if you change the focus on the go, the camera adapts, and that laser focus surely does the trick. The zoom may feel a bit laggy, so to say, or better said, sort of sequenced, and the picture capture is not exactly fast. It takes quite a bit to process the image, but the result is quite good and it's well worth the wait. Here we go. I would say it's pretty clear, the colors are good, and if you keep the screen pressed, you will trigger this mechanism that locks the autofocus, auto white balance, auto exposure, and provides you with an extra exposure slider. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We're totally done with the camera, and now it's time to go to the gallery and see the results of our capture, which includes almost 100 shots. I'm going to start off with the capture taken during the day. It was a sunny February day, and the very first shot came out blurry, probably because I didn't wait for it to focus enough. Then we tried an HDR that made the image a bit washed out, and then we tried the super resolution shot, 52 megapixel capture right here. Resolution is 8192 over 4608, and the details are simply great. So let's check out this tower, the church. Once again, great details, and you can see all of them, especially on a PC screen. Then we have a collection of more shots which have pretty good colors, and when I say good colors I mean realistic, vivid at the same time, cold when they should be cold in the shade, and pretty much looking nice. From all these 95 shots, probably let's say 2 or 3 were blurry, which is excellent statistic, putting us in the same league as the iPhones, for example. Even though we didn't have many blur shots, we had about 5 or 10% which had this problem, because we had a very sunny day, as I said, and the sun was a problem when it met the corners of our camera. However, the images are crisp, with excellent texture and colors, good white balance and exposure, and we got quite a few of them to be proud of. Close-ups also look nice, and the focus is probably the strong suit of the device. So selfies look pretty good. They're a bit artificial because I left the beautification on, but I will have to say I'm both happy with the texture of the skin, even though artificial, and with the background, something that most cameras cannot get right, even on higher end devices. Okay, a bunch more shots with fantastic colors. Just check out this one. It may seem oversaturated, in fact those are the real life colors. In case you're wondering, this is a toy for children, which is placed right here. Pretty odd, I know. Okay, even more captures in a cloudier and darker area. Regular shot and HDR shot, once again a bit washed out. And this is the panorama. So the panorama is pretty clear, I have to say, and the resolution achieved here is 9600 pixels over 880 pixels, and in spite of the fact we had the sun in front, I would have to say it performed admirably. The image was crisp, so no complaints here. We continue with this close-up with excellent details of a small statue of a dog. Even more colors, colorful toys, more close-ups, and check out this texture. Probably my favorite word when reviewing a camera is texture. You can really see that this is actually plastic made to imitate metal, and that's pretty cool. Okay, some graffiti, and now we played with the focus, focusing on this imitation of a nut or thing like that, on this locket. I don't want to say texture, but I'm forced to. Nice texture, and even more shots. By the way, check out this landscape image. If you zoom in, you see that the trees are shown quite nicely without losing too much detail, and that's a nice thing. We end up with a GIF, and this is the end of the daytime gallery. I have to say that the phone performed admirably, and I have to say that even though it has the same camera as the ASUS ZenFone 2 Laser, somehow some of the shots looked a bit better. It clearly beats the ASUS ZenFone 2, at least the pre-update ASUS ZenFone 2. I've heard that after a software update the camera got better. We also did low light capture, and low light means during the night time. It was about 1 AM. And while the lack of flash didn't mean anything, when the flash was on, the image was quite good, nice colors and pretty crisp pictures. The light halos were decent, I would have to say. Check out this picture, it's quite clear for nighttime, once again, full nighttime, 1 AM, and the camera handled the heat pretty well. Good colors, and with the flash on, almost perfect colors. I would even go as far as to compare it with the iPhone 6 during the nighttime, and it's not even a joke. And here is a series of shots, so flash shot, same shot without flash, and same shot with night mode, and that's about it. Quite decent, even a close-up looked nice during the night, no trace of graininess, and this is an almost artistic shot at the same time of night. Basically, you should be using your flash during the night because it's excellent and it keeps colors pretty realistic, being well balanced. A selfie, a pretty creepy selfie, but then again, worked out fine in the end. Okay, it can easily fight an iPhone 6 in low light conditions, remember that. It's slightly below the ASUS ZenFone Laser that faces nighttime even better, and when I say that I mean those photos without flash, and overall the camera beats the ASUS ZenFone 2. It can fight the Huawei champions from last year without a problem, and it's not very much below flagships from 2015, let's say by about 20%. And now it's time to analyze the videos. So this handset can film in MP4 format in Full HD at 30 frames per second and with a 20 megapixel bitrate. This is the first video we took. Was taken on a sunny day, also very windy. It's a bit shaky and it meets a very dark area where it handles exposure change quite well. It's pretty clear, the colors also look okay, and it's facing both sun and shade, and in spite of that the exposure was decent. Okay, looking for the second video, which is this one, and I warn you, it has a lot of color. Slight refocus at the start, pretty much perfect colors, very crisp, some refocusing, good exposure, and the wind caused one problem or two with the microphone, but the filming is quite okay, once again for a phone that costs less than 150 bucks. We also tried a Slo-Mo video, this one. Not very impressive, you can actually see the grain in the water, but then again, not many people like to take slow-mos, at least not with ASUS devices. They have iPhones to achieve that feature. And even more videos, this one here where we played a lot with the focus. I have to say this is probably the video I shot with the most focus play ever. I usually almost never refocus when filming, this time I did. And I was surprised to see that once again the laser focus works wonders. So an excellent video, this one here. Good focus, good clarity, nice colors and a nice focus change. And those were all the videos. We also shot clips at night. First one with flash. Pretty much okay colors and okay quality when you film up close. And then when the flash doesn't reach that far, it's all pitch black and not very clear. Some graininess, and this is with flash. Of course, without flash, things get a bit worse. Like here. Everything is yellowish. At least the street light halos aren't very big. Overall, I'd say that the video capture is not bad. It even beats some more known mid-rangers from last year. I can say it beats 80% of the HTC Desire phones easily. And some Huawei models that, while they took good photos, in the video department they were so-so. It also films better than the ASUS ZenFone 2, and if I remember correctly, films better than the Microsoft Lumia 640 XL. So overall, a great camera for a handset that costs below 150 bucks. And when I say that, I'm thinking about the fact its photos can rival the iPhone 6 during the day, and they're not bad during the night. Now it's time to discuss about the gallery app for a bit. You can view photos, videos, albums, you can check out an events wall, and you can name each event. And then we got a people section and a cloud section. And if you go to photos, you'll see these two rolling options. One is the collage option that will let you create a collage of your shots and include various formats, text, smileys, and all sorts of stickers on top of your image. That's what a collage looks like. They can be altered in various formats. And the other one is the movie maker, which is basically like HTC's Zoe, and it involves not selecting video apparently. It's called Mini Movie and creates a selection of your best frames, adds a theme to them, a filter, music and all that, so you can create a very nice summing up video of your vacation. You can change the text, the music and the photos. Okay, so those are two of the ways to interact with the pictures from your gallery. And other than that, other than the collage and the mini movie, we also have the regular editing options. So press this one here, you can view the details of the picture and touch it up a bit. These are the special options for selfies. You can make the eyes bigger, add some blush, etc. Or you can use the usual editing options like filters, frames, crop, straighten, rotate and mirror, and finally all of the cool options like auto color, exposure, contrast, shadows and more. Okay, so that's about it as far as the gallery is concerned. Let's talk performance. And performance involves temperature among others. So after playing the game Riptide GP2 for 15 minutes, we achieved 32.8 degrees Celsius, which means there is no overheating here, which is always good news. Now I want to talk about the connectivity. So what we're getting here is a handset with a dual SIM slot. These are dual micro SIM card slots, and the phone offers Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, micro USB with OTG, Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi Direct, and LTE of the 4th category, which means up to 150 megabits per second downloads. There's HSPA+, GPS and GLONASS, and in the dialer section we got a full screen dial pad option, speed dial, block list, dual SIM card settings, and a ton more options, and I do mean a ton. We have call recordings, many settings, call settings, blocking, auto call recording, call screen, proximity sensor and all that. I have to say that the signal is quite good during calls, the sound is clear and clean. It could be a bit louder, but overall I'm happy with the connectivity. And speaking of which, we also tested the Wi-Fi speeds and the result looks like this. 20 megabits per second in download and 22 in upload, which I would say is the norm for a mid-ranger handset. Now it's that part of the review where we analyze the browser and benchmark together. So this is the pre-installed browser on the ASUS phone. It's not the stock Android one, in case you were wondering, and it comes with the most visited section, saved pages, and a speed dial, which is an interesting feat to have, also navigation. And once you're looking for something, you get trending searches like these things here, actors, sportsmen, or things like that. Okay, so let's go to gsmdom.com. Not exactly a fast browser, as you can see. At least the page loaded reasonably fast once it started fetching it. We have a lot of options here like incognito tab, saved pages, send to Zen circle, share link, find on page and request desktop site. And this is what the tabbed browsing looks like. So aside from the loading speed, I'm pretty happy with the browser experience. And as far as the keyboard goes, it's pretty well spaced and it has the swipe option. And of course there are some suggestions here, extra settings and extra options, including some themes, which take a bit to load. Since we keep speaking about the web browser, let's see some of its results because we also benchmarked it. So in BrowserMark, in this ASUS browser, we scored 1270 points, which is a so-so result. We've seen worse, but we've also seen much better, while SunSpider is a total bummer, 1574. Usually it's a good idea to score below 1000 here, the lower the better, and 1574 is certainly a poor result. Now we did do some benchmarks, but as you know, we have a more compact format for this section. These are all the tests we ran. We compared the Samsung Galaxy A5 to the Jony Marathon N5 and the ASUS ZenFone Max. They share similar specs, and the ZenFone Max only won 4 out of all these benchmarks. There are more than 15, so the results were a bit underwhelming. In spite of the fact that the results were not impressive, the handset does not suffer from lag. It has a fluid user interface, and aside from the moments when it installed and updated a ton of apps, it didn't have any lag or delay. As usual, we tested the game Riptide GP2, but we felt the need to take it up a notch, so aside from Riptide, we also installed Real Racing 3, which we also consider to be a bit of a benchmark, and gave it a go. That's why, unlike other reviews, this time we can show you Real Racing 3. I have to mention that this game runs fine, Riptide GP2 also runs fine. I'm confident that FIFA and Asphalt 8 run without a problem. I could even say FIFA 16 Ultimate Team should run on it without a problem. It's taking its time with loading. Here we go. Okay. Tap to race. Manager and all that. Buying the car. No sharing just yet. And we can go to the race. The menus take a while to load, but the actual gameplay is pretty much flawless, so no lag or hiccup there. Nice graphics. The controls are tilt based. The acceleration is automatic. And it feels a bit like NASCAR, if you ask me. You can change the camera. And I just unlocked an achievement. So as you can see, no lag, no problem, nice reflections and nice graphics. So the game runs like a charm, and so does Riptide GP2. Now it's time to talk about the OS, UI and apps, and let's see what flavor of Android we're running here. So it's Android 5.0.2 with Zen UI on top. You've seen quite a bunch of reviews here at gsmdome.com of ASUS ZenFone handsets, and this is one of them, the ASUS ZenFone Max. You know what to expect. A handset with a colorful and flat user interface. Multitasking is offered like this through a carousel. We got screen pinning option. We got the option to shut everything down, and also this extra option here that shows running services and how much RAM they take up. So let's shut them all down, free some memory, and proceed with the other feeds. If you keep the home screen pressed, you'll trigger this ultra customizable area with apps and widgets included. And apps are like 60% those unique from ASUS and 40% those from Google. One of the best is the task manager. That's actually very handy. You can see it here. You can boost memory by pressing it. Okay, we move back here, and then we got home edit with a ton of options like edit pages, icon size, icon alignment, scroll effects, font size, icon label color, and select font. So a huge degree of customization. I would go as far as to say that it even rivals the customization of Cyanogen Mod. If not, it surpasses it, which is no small feat. And then we got wallpapers, icon packs, Zen UI theme. You can lock apps for an extra bit of security, protect them against snoopers. Then we got preferences, which relate to the home screen, folder icon, app lock, unread counts badge, and more. And also search settings. And finally system settings and more that includes encourage us and feedback and help. Other than these things here, we go to the drop down section where we find the usual notifications, the quick settings with these flat icons and big bubbles, and the brightness slider. Of course, the list is customizable straight from here. And then it's time to check out the settings area, searching for some special options. Connectivity features right here, and Zen Motion, which are the usual gestures and options that allows us to interact with the device in a special way. You can draw a W to launch a browser, double tap to wake up the screen, and use the one hand mode by double tapping the home key. This is it. That's the one hand mode. And let's try the other features. Woke up the screen. Let's draw a C for camera. And that's what the feature is all about. More into the settings. Checked out Zen Motion already. Sound notification, do not disturb. with exceptions and schedule. Then we got options for the ASUS cover. In case you have this accessory, you can find all the needed options here. Storage, downloads, apps, users, and ASUS customized settings, including a glove mode and screenshot file format. And you can tap and hold the recent apps key to show the menu, for example. Then we got location and easy mode. If you're a beginner in the area of smartphones, or an option for the elderly, this is it if you just bought the phone. There's also kids mode for a safer playground environment for the little ones with parental controls and all sorts of other useful features. Lock screen options, security options, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so now it's time to go to the pre-installed apps area. As usual for a ZenFone, there's a ton of bloatware, which means a ton of updates. Not a day goes by that I don't see here something like 23 apps updated, 28 apps updated, or things like that, which kind of bum me out. Now let's analyze the pre-installed applications. So we got the Google Pack, Google Chrome, Gmail, Maps, YouTube, Drive, Play Music, Hangouts, Photos, Docs, Sheets and Slides. Then we got these ones, Clean Master, which is actually useful, Dr. Safety and Amazon Kindle. Then ASUS Mobile Manager that takes care of your RAM, your power saving, auto start, data usage, and even has a virus scanner. ASUS Support, Audio Wizard, Auto Start Manager, also useful. Then Backup, Browser, Calculator, Calendar, Camera, Clock, Contacts, Do It Later, which is an app that allows you to create a list of tasks straight from the other apps. Email, File Manager, Flashlight, FM Radio, Gallery, Google Settings, Laser Ruler, Messaging, Mini Movie, Music, My ASUS Phone, Photo Collage, Play Store, Power Saver, Quick Memo, Settings, Sound Recorder, System Update, Teams, Voice Search, Weather, Web Storage, Zen Circle, ZenTalk, TripAdvisor, Free Games, Zen Flash Camera, Splendid, Puffin, and finally Zenio. So a ton of pre-installed apps, a lot of bloatware happening here, and I'm not very happy with that, as you can probably tell. It's too bad that so many updates have to happen, and although we spent the year 2015 criticizing ZenFones for bloatware, ASUS keeps doing it. Well, with a bit of luck, the next ZenFone generation will lack that thing. So it's the end of the review. This is the ASUS ZenFone Max. It's a battery phone for sure, a very impressive battery phone. It's time to list the pros and cons for this handset. So on the pros side, we got the good price, below 150 bucks, a solid design, a fantastic battery, almost 24 hours of playback as far as I remember from the start of the review, and it can also be used as a power bank to juice up other devices. It has pretty good audio from this speaker right here, a slightly improved screen compared to the previous ZenFones from last year. At least in the contrast area, it handles that pretty well. The focus of the camera is great, and the low light capture is also quite good for a phone below $150. It also provides a fluid user interface, and it can run games pretty okay for a mid-ranger. We also have